Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have this Nissan Z and we're going to do the side chrome delete installation for this vehicle. So this is how the side panel looks before doing the installation, and this is how it looks after the installation. So we use the gloss black material in order to black out the side panels and to match the top roof of the vehicle. Link for the product will be provided below. But with that being said, let's get started with the installation video. These are the tools you need for the installation. So before we start with the installation, we need to make sure we prep the side panel. So we're going to need two solutions in order to do the preparation. Our first solution is our Slip solution, which contains baby shampoo mixed with distilled water. And our second solution is Tack solution, which contains distilled water with isopropyl alcohol. So we're going to use our first solution first. Grab your clean microfiber towel and spray the solution onto the microfiber towel. And we're just going to remove any contaminants that the panel may have, and then just make sure to clean the surrounding area just in case if the film does touch either the paint or the glass, it doesn't catch any contaminants. And now for the second cleaning, turn your microfiber towel to a clean side, grab your Tack solution and spray it onto the microfiber towel once more. And what this does, it just helps remove any hard contaminants that the side panel may have, like any wax, oils, grease, or any coating. It'll help remove it. And then once you're done prepping, make sure that everything's completely dry. That way the adhesive on the film is able to tack down. So once you're done with the prep, now we can start with the installation. With this one, just place the film onto the side panel and align it up to the edge of the front section of the door. So make sure you're covering the entire chrome. Make sure everything's being covered on the top, and also you have material to cover the bottom section here. So just lift and adjust as you go. So it's covered here, should be good. And once you have it tacked down, just use the top side as a guide to align the rest of the film. So just align it as you go. You can always readjust it. For example, here you may have a finger. That's perfectly fine. Just make sure to come back and adjust it as needed. So I'm just using the top section as a guide, making sure the entire chrome is covered. Adjust as needed. Okay, should be good here. And then just come back and adjust it here. Okay, so once you place the film, grab your squeegee, start tagging it down. Make sure to remove all of the bubbles underneath the film. Seal the top. And then just help it tack down underneath the panel right here. You will have just a little bit of excess material underneath the film right here. So we'll just trim off what we don't need. And before we remove any excess material, we're going to apply heat. That way the film starts molding to the design of the curve of the panel and underneath here. So you can use a heat gun or a hair dryer. Use the lowest setting on your device and just apply heat throughout the entire panel. You can use your squeegee to help it tack down as well around the curved sections and underneath the film here. So for this part, you have two options depending how you want to go about it. You could either place the film and just trim off the excess material up to the edge, or if you want full coverage to cover the inside, which is a little difficult because of the small gap here. If you want full coverage, you will just have to place the film, make sure it's lifted and not touching this panel. Leave it like this, apply a little bit of heat, let the film cool down, and then help it tack down around the curve. So you're going to stretch it a little bit and help it tuck in inside. Use your squeegee to help you, but just make sure you're stretching as you tack it down. That way you remove any fingers around the top and bottom section here. Because it is such a small gap, there's only so much you can do to reach it inside, but this is only if you want full coverage on the side panels here. If you don't, you would just have to trim it off on the edge right here. I'll show you how to do it on this end. but this is one way of going about it if you want full coverage. So once you see that everything's covered, just apply a little bit of heat. That way the film starts to tack down around the edges. Let the film cool down just a little bit and just help it tack down. And then once you have enough film covered inside, just lift what you don't need. Grab your blade. You only need just a little bit. And carefully just trim off the excess material. Just like that. And now it's full covered inside. And the chrome that you see here on the side, you won't see it. But this is the method you would do if you want full coverage inside. If you don't, and it's a little hard to do the install, you would just trim it on this side. So I'll show you guys how to do this other method on this section here. For the bottom section, if you remember, you will have excess material in the bottom here, but if you don't roll down the window, you will have access to move the gasket underneath here. And that way you're able to tuck in the film and have full coverage on the bottom. So this is what I mean. So you would just push the rubber gasket to the side and just tuck in to have full coverage like this. As you can see, everything is being covered, full coverage. All you have to do is just make sure you tuck in the film underneath the rubber gasket. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so for the last piece that covers this entire section here, you would start on the rear end here. So just place the film and just make sure you align it up to the edge right here. Make sure you give yourself enough material to cover the entire section of the tip here. So you just need enough material to cover it right here. And then once you have it, just place the film. And with this one, just make sure you're covering the bottom and you have enough material to cover the top. So place it as you go until you reach it to this end right here. Just double check and see if everything's being covered. Everything should be good. Go ahead and just grab your squeegee and start tacking down everything. Remove all of the air underneath the film. And then for the top section, if you do have excess material, you could wrap it around the top. That way it grabs and does a full wrap on the top section here. You might need to move the rubber gasket that's here, just so you have room to tuck in the film. Okay, you could use this section here without the felt to help it tuck in. Just take your time tucking it in underneath. That way you have full coverage. And then for the bottom, same thing. Just help it tack down. And then you could tuck in underneath as much as possible, and then any excess material we'll just trim it off slowly. So here it will be the same thing. Just make sure you cover everything on the bottom. And then before we trim off anything, grab your heat device and apply heat. That way we help the film start molding to the design of the panel. So help it around the curve. You can tuck it in on this section here. Since there's a small gap, you could tuck it in. Just carefully lift it and tuck in the film underneath. Make sure not to lift it all the way because you might separate the panel from the vehicle, since there is adhesive that's holding it down. So just a little bit of tuck in like this. This is only if you don't want to trim off the extra material. Just lift it carefully. The reason why I lift it is because since the film is touching the paint, and if you try to squeegee, you're not going to be able to tuck it in since it's touching the paint. So just tuck in as much as you can. Take your time. So you can see it should start looking like this, just tucked in. But if you don't want to tuck in underneath, then the other method would be trimming it off. I'll show you guys right now just for the small piece how it looks if you don't want to tuck it in. So if you don't want to tuck in, you just carefully make sure everything's covered. Grab your blade, just a little bit of it, have it popped out. Find the small gap and slowly trim off the extra material. Make sure you're not applying pressure onto the film. You're only gracing it, that way you don't scratch the paint underneath here. And then just remove it slowly and tear away you don't need. Okay, and for the bottom, same process as how we did it for the front. Just tuck it in. So there is a small gasket too, but just lift the film and tuck it inside. This one, it'll be more easier to trim off the extra material. Since there's a small gap, you have more room to remove the extra material. So once you have full coverage here, and you know you're not exposing any chrome, apply heat. That way the film starts tacking down. Use your squeegee just to make sure everything's covered. Now create an outline with your finger. Create an outline, there's a small gap right here. You will notice it. Create an outline with your finger, that way you know exactly where to trim off the extra material. So just pop out your blade, insert right in that gap, and just slowly trim off the extra material. Take your time. Remember, don't apply too much pressure on your blade till you reach to the edge right here. Carefully remove the extra material, and it should look like this. Right here, you could just trim it off. It's more easier to do it since you have a space right here. And then with your squeegee, just tuck in the remaining section. So if you did want full coverage on the edge right here, you would do the same method as how we did it for the front panel here. But if you want just to trim it off, and it's a little hard to install to get full coverage on the inside, so all you need to do is just basically the same method as how we did it. So just apply heat. That way the film starts molding to the design of the edge right here. So just have it like this and like that. That way you have at least just the tip of the edge covered. And once it's covered like this, to trim it off, since for this example we're not covering the side section, you just grab your blade, insert right on the edge, and trim it off slowly. Don't forget about the top section, and just carefully remove it, and that's it. So if you notice, there's still chrome exposed. You'll only have coverage up to the tip of the edge where you trim. But if you want full coverage, like how we did it for the front panel here, this section here does have full coverage. So it all depends on how you want to do the installation. If you want full coverage, which it will look nice, you'll just have to work your way to make sure you cover the inside. But if you just want the face or the side panel to be covered, just give yourself a little bit of material to at least cover a little bit of the section here. But that's pretty much it. Once you trim, apply heat, that way the film doesn't lift over time. Make sure you're tucking it in underneath, and you should be good. And now the last thing to do is to post heat the entire panel. So the last thing to do once you finish with the entire installation for the side panel is to post heat everything. So to post heat, just grab your heat gun or hair dryer and just use the lowest setting on your device. And just make sure to apply heat evenly throughout the entire side panel. That way we help the adhesive on the film activate faster. And also make sure to focus around the areas where we trim, the edges, and also where it was tucked in. That way the film doesn't lift over time. So take your time applying heat to secure the entire film. And then once you're done with this step, you're done with the installation. So that concludes the installation video for the side chrome deleted installation for the Nissan Z. We hope that the video helped you guys out with the installation. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell. That way you don't miss any of our upcoming installation videos. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.